Howdy, y'all. It's Ryan. And not Angela tonight. Your favorite mom and pop guitar shop, music lesson studio, deep in Arlington, Texas, from RNA Music. That's where we're at. RNA Music. I don't have any Hetfield slaps today. Anyways, we're doing a little live thing tonight, just to give you guys and girls a quick update on recent happenings with RNA Music. Have a little chitty chat about practicing and answer some questions. And I'm going to give people a few more minutes to jump in on the live stream. Somebody's watching. I can see there's one eyeball up there watching. So, all right, Thursday night. What day is it? March 9th, 2023. Deep in the heart of Texas. I'm in Angela's lesson room. This is her lesson room because she's got this sweet podcasting mic set up, boom arm thing on her desk. And it's a little quieter back here in Angela's room. So I thought I would do this back here. All right. Give people a few more minutes to jump on in. Let me go check that over there. How's it sounding? Oh, sounds okay. All right. Anthony Thornhill, what's up? Thank you for tuning in, dude. All right, quick little update video and chitty chat. So I'm gonna go ahead and get started with the chat. Anthony's here. That's all that matters. So let's get to it. All right, quick update. Where have we been for 2 weeks? Well, life has been crazy busy, of course. David Belcher. Hello, David. This is legit live. This is not a rebroadcast. Last couple of weeks have been super busy. Angela is away on a trip right now. She is in North Carolina right now as we speak. But we've missed the last couple of weeks of Ask RNA. The first week we were just super busy. So many things going on, family stuff, work stuff, just so much stuff happening. We never had time to sit down and film. Also only had one question. So there was only one question on the last. Don't say anything, David. I'm not supposed to buy any guitars while Angela's away. There's a gun show, though, here in Canton this weekend. Not supposed to buy any guns either. Lost my train of thought. You said buy a new guitar. I actually got a guitar back in January. I never did the unboxing video. Anyways, back on track. So there was only one question on the last episode. I think it was whatever it was of Ask RNA. So we didn't film it because we didn't want to set up all the lights and do all the stuff with only one question. I thought if I waited a little bit, longer, then we'll get some more questions. So if you guys are watching right now, go back to the very last episode of Ask RNA. If I can find it, whatever number it was, go to the channel. You'll see it. There's only one question. So we need at least a couple of questions to do all the setup for that. But it's just been super busy. Work, taking care of our family. We're at that age, we're both in our 40s. And so we're at that point in our life where our parents, thank God, we still have our parents. Both my parents are still alive. My stepdad is still alive. Angela's parents are still alive. So we still have our parents, which is a blessing, but they also need a lot of help. So we're doing a lot between the two of us, between my dad, my mom and my stepdad, Angela's parents, and family things, and my sisters and like her sisters, and just a lot of stuff going on. So it's just been busy. So we haven't had an Ask RNA, but hopefully next week we'll be back with Ask RNA. Angela left this morning. Well, actually, I drove her to the airport in Dallas. I've been up since about 3 a.m. So it's been a really long day. Her flight was at 7 o'clock. She had to fly to Atlanta, had a layover in Atlanta, and then flew on to Charlotte, North Carolina, not to be confused with South Carolina. So Angela's in North Carolina right now at a women's, not a convention, at a women's retreat where she is a guest speaker. So she was invited to be a guest speaker at a women's thing in North Carolina. Super rad. But had to get up early, go to the airport, get her to her plane. She'll be back Sunday night, about 10 p.m. Sunday, Texas time. So, yeah. yeah, just buy another guitar, same color as the others. She'll notice. She'll probably notice. Although I actually had a student today ask me in lessons, like, how many guitars do you have? And I was like, I don't know. Let me pull it up and look. I have a list on my phone, on my notes. I had to make a list of the guitars because I have 24 guitars just for me. That's not counting Angela's guitars. Angela has a couple of guitars. Our son Aiden has a guitar. Nicholas has a guitar. Nicholas also has a couple of basses. I have a bass, which is not on my list of guitars because a bass is not a guitar. It's a bass. So I only own one bass. Where's it at? Notes on this phone. Okay, there we are. I have 24 guitars and one bass. So I have a lot of guitars. But yeah, so Angela's out of pocket for this week. Yeah, Anthony, insurance reasons. Yeah, I mean, I keep a running. Probably, I just can't see that. There it is. I keep a running list because I was forgetting them, and I wanted to make sure I knew how many I had. All that, right? I should get the serial numbers too. That would be the smart thing, is to get serial numbers for all of them as well. Oh, Anthony, man, thank you so much. Super chat. You're amazing. Yeah. So Angela's away for the weekend. It's me and the boys. I got three young men at the house, 5 dogs, 3 cats. And so tonight I'm gonna chat with you guys for a little bit. I got a boogie for sure, at least by 8, because I have to go get dinner for the boys. We're gonna have chicken, fried chicken tonight. So yeah, so Angel's out of pocket. We'll be back with Ask RNA next week. It's just been crazy. I thought I would get on and talk to you guys a little bit about the time I learned how to practice for real and share my experience about that. I was coming back from the airport at whatever time it was this morning, 5:30, driving back from Dallas. And, I was trying not to fall asleep because I've been up since 3. And so I pulled up a video. I saw that my buddy Robert Baker had posted a video, maybe yesterday, maybe last night. I don't know. He was talking about being tired. It's a great video. You should go watch it. If you don't watch Robert, go check out his video. It says, I'm tired. And it was basically essentially about taking breaks. If you're working really hard, it's okay to take a break when you've been working really hard. But it seems like we live in a culture now where everybody's taking breaks and not working very hard. There's more people taking breaks and chilling than working, it seems like. And he related that to playing guitar, and how if you actually wanted to, become a better guitar player, better drummer, better musician, you got to practice. Like, you got to put in the time, whether you feel like it or not sometimes. And people are too wrapped up in like, I just don't feel like it, so I'm not going to do it. And that really resonated with me because, obviously we teach a lot of students, and some of our students are very diligent practicers, and they are obsessed with their instrument. And then I don't have to get on them for practicing. And we have a lot of students who are like, so did you practice? And they're like, yeah, I was kind of busy this week. I'm like, you're 13. How busy are you? It's not like, how many hours did you work at your job this week? None. How many hours of YouTube did you watch? How many video games did you play? Okay. So anyways, I got to, I don't super harp on them for not practicing. I'm just like, hey, well, we're here right now. Let's practice right now. So let's just get to it. But I do kind of remind them, I'm like, listen, if you don't put in the time, you're not gonna get better. And you're certainly not going to get better quickly, right? And it's just a matter of putting in the time. So anyway, I highly recommend going and watching Robert Baker's video. It resonated with me for sure. And I've shared this story over and over with my students here for years now. And I'm going to share it with you guys and girls now about when I finally learned how to practice correctly. And it was pretty late in the game for me. So, all right, little backstory. I took piano lessons when I was a kid. I don't even remember how old I was. 9 or 8, 9 or 10. I don't remember. I took piano lessons. My older sister took piano lessons. My sister Robin is 2 years older than me. We were both taking lessons. She took lessons first, and then I signed up when I got a little bit older. So she was about a year or two ahead of me in her piano books. And I come from a half musical family, like half of one side of my family. All the heathens are musicians. The bootleggers and gun runners and smugglers and alcoholics and dirt poor pig farmers, they're all musicians. The good side of my family, who are like, pastors and ministers and deputy U.S. marshals for the Oklahoma Territory and lawmen and good people. That side of the family is not very musical. So personality wise, I take after the good folks, but I guess I got my talent from the heathens, from my bad grandpa, the bad side of the family, or the rough side. We'll just call it that. So I feel like I have enough natural aptitude and talent for music that I can learn things without a lot of practice. I can learn a certain amount of things without a lot of practice. Now, I believe in a certain amount of aptitude for music. I don't believe in the people who are super crazy amazing at music, guitar, drums, singing, whatever. They're just talented and that's why they're good. I don't believe that crap at all, because that gives people an excuse to not work, because they just think, well, I'm not talented, that's why I'm not good. It's like, no, you're lazy. That's why you're not good. Because everybody that we love and look up to as musicians, they do have a natural certain amount of talent, but most of them worked their stinking faces off. They just practiced all day. You know why Van Halen is amazing? Because he played like 8 hours a day all the time. You know why Steve Vai is amazing? Because he played like 10 hours a day all the time. Dimebag Darrell from Pantera played guitar all the time. Stevie Ray Vaughan kind of sucked in the beginning. The story goes, I live about an hour from Dallas. I meet people all the time who apparently knew Stevie. I don't know if they do or not, but some of them are like, hey, he wasn't that great when he was a kid. And then what did he do? Well, he woodshedded and just locked himself in a room and just played guitar all the time. And he got pretty good. So the common denominator amongst all of our musical heroes and why they are amazing is because they just practiced their faces off. We say practice, but they just played their instrument nonstop for hours and hours and hours and hours a day. Yeah, David. So people don't realize how hard you have to work to be mediocre, let alone what it takes to be good. That's true. Guitar is a very challenging instrument, more than the others. I've learned a bunch of instruments in my time, and as a music major, had to learn how to play all these wind instruments to be a band director, played piano, was a percussionist. Guitar, I feel like, is not as challenging as strings, like the violin, the viola, the cello. I think those are the most difficult. I put guitar right underneath those as far as difficulty level. Very difficult. And it's a very long road to becoming good. Now, that road, it's a matter of how many hours and minutes you play, right? Same thing, Anthony said, professional sports. For sure. There was a guy, I forget his name. I forget what guy it is. Well, he's a basketball player, and I forget what team he plays for, but he has like the world record in I guess, 3-pointers. He's made more 3-pointer shots than anybody else, scored more points than anybody else. And on every team he's been on, I don't know his name, but I've heard the story. And he talked about, he was on a news station. He said, well, he's just talented. He just has a God-given gift for spatial awareness and distance, and he can just hit those 3-pointers. And he's like, shut up. No. He said what he did is he showed up. He was on the court before anybody else on his team, and he left the court after everyone else. He practiced more than anyone else on his team, practicing those throws. So that's why he could make them. It wasn't God-given talent that he can make those. He just practiced more and harder than anyone else. I was like, yes, exactly. He just freaking outworked everybody. Now, is he, does he have the genetics? Is he the right height? You're not going to be 5'2" in the NBA hitting 3-pointers all the time. So, there is a little bit of that, but he just practiced more, and he hated it because people they just said it was just genetics. He had just a gift for spatial awareness, and he was like, he hated that because it just basically, he took all the hundreds and hundreds of hours or years of practicing and said, he's just lucky. And I was like, bro, that's what's up. No, he outworked everybody else. I watched a Rick Beato video where he had Miles Kennedy from Alter Bridge. Rick had Miles in his studio and did an interview with him. And like, I freaking love Miles Kennedy. I love Alter Bridge. Miles is a fantastic vocalist, rock singer. He's great, right? And Rick was just like, oh, you're just so good. And you're just like, well, you're just God-given talent. Like, and he was, complimenting him, right? And like, rightfully so. He's great. And he was just really like, complimenting him. Hey, Savinity. And I loved it because Miles was just like, well, yeah, I have some natural ability, but it's like, I just worked really hard. And Rick was like, oh, come on now. You're just not. And he's like, no, I had a really good vocal coach when I was younger, and he taught me a lot, and I worked really hard. I worked really hard to develop my skill. And I really appreciated that, because Rick was just like, well, you're just naturally gifted, right? You are a gifted singer. And Miles was just like, well, no, he's like, I'm average. I just worked really hard. And I love that, right? So we kind of live in a culture now, I think people see stuff, especially on YouTube, in social media, where you see like these young kids just ripping it on the guitar, on the piano or drums, or you see somebody playing and they just make it look easy, right? And we just assume, well, they're just talented. It's like, they just have a lot of time on their hands. Nope, they don't have a lot of time on their hands. Nobody has more time on their hands than anybody else. We all have 24 hours a day. That's all any of us got. Some of us are not good at managing our time, and some of us are really good at that. I'm not, but I'm just saying, nobody has more time than anybody else. People just have more focus, I think. So back to my story. I believe in a little bit of talent is a thing, but it's mostly hard work, right? I had enough talent that I didn't have to work really hard to learn, like the piano parts, for my piano lesson each week. I could kind of half-ass practice and like kind of learn my thing. I could read enough to like kind of play through it a few times and then hear it. Then I would just I'd play it from memory. When I became a percussionist in the public school, 6th grade, started doing drum, 6th grade band, same thing. I could learn during band class each week. I could practice what I had to learn to be able to play the music they put in front of me up to a certain point, right? And then guitar is kind of the same thing. Guitar was more difficult. I tried it. This is pre-YouTube. There was Mel Bay method books back in the day. And there were some Guitar World magazines, I guess. But back in the late 88, 89, I guess, is when I first tried guitar. Mel Bay book was not making sense. And then I actually was still taking piano lessons. So my piano teacher started teaching me guitar, because I had my book and she can read music, obviously. And it was not tabs. It was, notation, right? But she was not a guitar player. And it didn't really click. And I struggled. I was like, forget this. I'll just play drums. So I put the guitar away for about a year. And then I came back to it because one of my buddies got a guitar. We were both drummers and we both played guitar. And I really wanted to give it another shot because that's like Appetite for Destruction had just come out. In the late 80s, I kind of figured out, Bon Jovi was the thing. MTV had all these hair bands, Poison, all this stuff. And like, as a junior high kid, I'm like, what's this? And Def Leppard. I wore out a Def Leppard tape one summer when, what was it? Hysteria came out, maybe. Was it Hysteria? I think it was Hysteria, not Pyromania. Anyways, I got the vibe, like, man, I want to play rock guitar, And then my dad had a client whose son was a professional musician. His name is Donnie. I still know him, still lives in this area. Like, he played in clubs like 6 nights a week in like Shreveport, Dallas, Longview. He had like a rock band. Hey, Big John, Texas Big John. Donnie had a rock band he played with. I mean, again, they're like gigging like 5-6 nights a week. This is what he did. And then, but his mom was a client of my dad's. And so they hooked me up with Donnie. I think I was probably like 12 or 13. Donnie was like 33. So he's this older guy. What I thought was an older guy, but still young enough to be cool. And he could freaking rip it on guitar. Hey, JJ's House of Jams. And so I started taking guitar lessons from Donnie, which is what I needed. Somebody who was like cool and hip and could play, you know, I was like, hey, I want to learn this Guns N' Roses song, Sweet Child of Mine. He's like, okay, here's a D chord. I'm like, what's a D chord? He's like, here's how you play a D chord. It's the first chord in the song. I'm like, okay, you know, here's a C2 chord. I'm like, okay, here's a G. Okay. So, you know, I got a teacher that I could relate to who could play the music I liked. He was a cool guy, very talented, hard worker, could play the guitar, could play the bass. He's an amazing bass player, honestly. So I started playing guitar. And although it was harder, I thought, than the piano and the drums, I was super motivated. But I was able to kind of learn, you know, cowboy chords, power chords, you know, do some riffy stuff. And, you know, I never learned soloing back then. I was like, well, I'll just be a rhythm guy. Because, you know, you had James Hetfield and Kirk Hammett. You had Slash, and then you had Izzy, and you had the rhythm guy, and then you had the lead guy, and the rhythm guy, and the lead guy. And I was like, well, I guess I'm just a rhythm guy. I don't think I can play leads. I had a complex or something. But I could learn guitar stuff well enough to play some easier songs. And, you know, I could read tablature pretty easy because I was still in the school band, and reading rhythms was super. I could do that because I had so much rhythm reading and percussion and rudiments and stuff, you know, and piano. It all kind of stacked together. So I could learn to play some okay things with an average amount of practice. Now, there were obviously things I couldn't play because I would try it, and if I couldn't get it in the first 4 or 5, 6 times, I'm like, oh, I can't do it. I just can't do it. So I was a real inconsistent practicer as a teenager. I was not the Zakk Wylde obsessed 8 hours a day playing the guitar. I was playing a lot of Sega Genesis, which just sucks, right? If I could go back and punch myself in the neck and say, stop playing YF-22 Flight Simulator and listening to Injustice for All for hours, and go play your drums or go play your guitar. Just go play your guitar for an hour, go play your drums for an hour every single day, and that'll actually change your life. Being really good at Sega Genesis Golden Axe is not going to help you in your life, right? But anyways, went to college, became a music major. I had no idea what I wanted to do. Actually, the first year of college, I was just in the marching band because I had a full scholarship, and I just took core classes. And, you know, I had no clue what I wanted to do. I knew I loved music, and I knew my mom was like, you're going to college. So me and my sisters, we all went to college because back in the day you had to. That was, you know, she didn't get to go. So my sisters and I, we all had to go. So at college, I did good at school too. I was pretty smart, where again, I didn't have to study very hard to make A's and B's, which is also horrible because if I'd actually applied myself and actually studied every day, like put some effort into it, would have been straight A's, you know, honor roll, whatever, top of the class kind of stuff. I mean, I outscored on the ACT, SATs. I outscored on those tests higher than some of the people who graduated at the top of our class. I was just not good at doing homework. I would do my homework in class. Like the day it's due, I'm like, let me do this real quick. You know, so I think having a bit of talent, having a bit of, you know, school talent for school, regurgitating what you hear is kind of a bad thing sometimes because you don't really learn how to work hard, I don't think. And went to college after about a year and decided, well, I guess I'll major in music because I love music. So, you know, became a music major. And junior college, still had horrible practice routines. I practiced a bit more because I was around other musicians who were at a higher caliber than what I was used to in high school. So in order to keep up with the other guys on the drum line, like I had to sort of get a little bit more serious about my practicing. And I got a little more excited about like drumline percussion stuff, rudiments, and doing that thing. I still didn't practice enough. Yeah. I still didn't really practice enough. Now, the first experience I had that really changed me on practicing was actually before I was at the junior college I went to another junior college here in Texas, in Tyler, Texas. It's called TJC, Tyler Junior College. And back then they had a smoking hot drum line, like freaking awesome. And I was like, well, let me see if I can get on the snare line at TJC. And I went to the drum camp as a freshman, got in there, and all these dudes were like third-year sophomores, most of them. There's several freshmen, third-year sophomores. And I walked in there, and I could play snare. Like I did snare my senior year in high school. And I was, for a small town, East Texas, I could do okay. That was another level. And like, I made the snare line audition by the skin of my teeth. But what we did before band camp, there was a week of percussion camp, drumline camp. And I am not lying. We got there at 7:30 in the morning and we played until about 8:30 at night for a week. Like just freaking, technique, exercises, some music, but mostly just ramming technique. Like all freaking days. Like I got blisters on me fingers because I was used to traditional grip. I was used to matched grip and we did traditional. So I had to learn how to do traditional grip pretty well in like a freaking week. So I was pretty proud of myself because I actually made the snare line as a freshman there. And man, it was amazing the amount of practicing we did and then how much better I got in a week. Now, as soon as actual band camp for college started, I did not enjoy it. It was military style, which is the like military marching bands, squares, right? But they had like a core style drum line. It's like a DCI style drum line in a military band. And I hated the military band stuff. And also the scholarship was crap. So halfway through band camp at this school, all my friends from Canton that I graduated high school with went to Athens, which is where Angela's from. There's another junior college there, Trinity Valley Community College, TVCC. Cardinals. And all my buddies from Canton went there. And like, man, one day during drum camp or during band camp at TJC, I thought, I'm going to drive over to Athens and talk to them. So I drove over to Athens, walked in. Of course, all my friends were like, Ryan, what's up? I was like, hey, what's going on? So I went and talked to the band director. I'm like, hey, my name's Ryan. I'm on the snare line at TJC. Scholarships aren't very good over there. I'm from Canton. You know, what kind of scholarships you got here at TVCC? And he's like, we'll give you everything. I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow. Because TJC gave me like $200 scholarships. It didn't even cover books. TVCC was like, we'll pay for all of it. And I'm like, I will see you tomorrow. So money talks. Now, what was crazy was I walked in and I thought I was hot poop because I was on the snare line at TJC, which is a big rival of TVCC's. And I walked in there and those guys, they were okay. One or two of them were better than me, but they were super laid back and like, yeah, whatever, we'll practice, didn't practice near as much. And I was like, guys, let me just tell you how much we practiced at TJC. So when we played them at halftime, they have this, it's not going to be good. And they're like, it'll be fine. I'm like, I was a little embarrassed, honestly, at the football game because like their drumline smoked ours. Because they just practiced their faces off. Now, our football team destroyed them 60-0. TVCC national champs, football national champions. So that was kind of nice. They had a robust athletics program at Trinity Valley Community College. A lot of those guys went on to play pro NFL football. So I kind of halfway learned to practice then. But still, when I got into TVCC, the environment, everybody was super chill and laid back, and there wasn't that competitive. And I was like, it'd be fine. And I was like, okay. So my practicing kind of took a hit. Went on, played in a band, met some great friends from there. That's where I met Angela. If I hadn't gone to TVCC, we wouldn't be married. Our children wouldn't exist. So I had a great time there. I freaking loved it. My greatest music teacher I had, Dr. Marilyn Wright. I learned more from her at this dinky junior college in East Texas than I did any professor at A&M University of Commerce, Texas A&M University of Commerce. I went there for a bit. And then Stephen F. Austin State University. Dr. Wright taught me more about piano and music theory and life. So I freaking loved her as a teacher. She was amazing. Huge impact on me. But I didn't practice a lot. But I met some dudes there. Formed a band. We gigged. We traveled around Texas, Louisiana, Arkansas, Missouri. Traveled, gigged, played. I played drum set in that band. Did a thing. And then after that is when I only got to Angela and I got married. A year I was out of school just gigging. And then I was like, I need a real job. And so I decided to go back to college, and I went to Stephen F. Austin State University because I already had all these years, like I had like 3 or 4.5 years of college, all these credits, not enough. Had an associate's degree, an associates of arts in music degree. But I wanted to finish, right? I was like, I wanted to finish my degree because it's all this time and hours and stuff spent to not finish. And I didn't really want to be a band director, like a public school band director. That's kind of what the degree gears you towards. But I just wanted to finish. So I went to SFA and got even higher caliber of musicians, percussionists there. Some really awesome guys. I'm friends with some of them still. One of them, freaking John, has a doctorate in percussion now. He's, I think, the percussion director at Sam Houston State University. He's written percussion ensembles, played all over the world, Japan. So, great guy. But I knew him back when we were in school. Still didn't practice very much. I practiced maybe one day a week, trying to learn all this stuff. And I practiced enough. Like I had to learn. This is where this guitar stuff, we're getting to the guitar stuff, guys. Let me explain it to you. So as a music major in college, I had to learn piano. I had like 5 years of piano. I had to be able to play all my scales, like 4 octaves, hands together, all 14 of the major scales. And then for each major scale, you have a natural minor, relative minor, the natural minor, the harmonic minor, and the melodic minor. So all 3 forms of the minor scale for all of the 14 keys. That's a lot of freaking scales on the piano and on the freaking marimba, which is just a giant piano you play with sticks. I mean, just hours in the stupid tiny practice room, the giant marimba, scales and arpeggios, scales and arpeggios. Oh my God. So much practicing. I freaking hated it. I freaking hate the marimba. Hate it. But I had to play it, and I had to learn all my keys, all my scales, all, the arpeggios and all that sort of stuff. And I kind of half-ass practiced that until it was time for a grade. And then I really would buckle down and practice a little bit more. I also got over my kind of issue with I didn't think I was any good. I had some kind of complex about I kind of grew up with people in my family. Like I said, I had heathens. My heathen side of the family with the musicians were all just really not encouraging people. And it was all a whole bunch of you'll never amount to nothing. Oh, you're just not good for anything, are you? That kind of crap. Uncles, my dad, it's just well, you're not even good for skinning. It's just oh, you're not any good at, it's that stuff. And I was as a young kid, single digits, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15 years old, you hear this all the time. You're just not good for nothing. Sometimes you develop a complex. Now, some people are F off. I am the greatest of all time. That wasn't me. I was just I guess I'm not any good. Well, I like playing though, but I guess I'm just not any good. That's okay. So I had this whole thing of I guess I'm not any good. When I was in the band with my buddies traveling around playing and gigging, doing gigs and stuff, that's when I kind of had an inkling. I was well, okay, I'm not the greatest drummer of all time, but apparently I don't suck, because everywhere we went and played with other bands and stuff, there'd be a show and they had a couple opening bands. We'd be an opening band sometimes. We'd play and I kind of watched the drummers. I'm oh, well, I can do what he's doing. That's pretty easy. Huh. Okay. Well, I'm not Neil Peart, but I can play, more solid than this dude over here. I have more experience than this guy. So for me, it was always people would come and say, oh man, you're really good. I'm no, Jeff Porcaro is really good. Neil Peart is really good. Dave Lombardo is really good. Vinnie Paul is really good. All these great session drummers, they're really good. Carter Beauford's really good. I'm not that. I'm not Neil Peart, so I can't be really good, but I'm not garbage. So I started to learn how to kind of accept compliments. And I was oh, okay. I'm okay. I'm not horrible. I'm not amazing, because I knew amazing, I knew what amazing was. So I guess I'm in the middle somewhere. But when I got to Stephen F. Austin, I still had a complex about practicing. I just thought, I'm just not any good. The problem was I was playing higher level music, like more difficult music, which like on the guitar, I was like, oh, I just can't do that. I'm just, some guys can do it. Some guys can't. I guess I'm the guy who just can't. I can do some things, but I can't do that. I can't play solos. I can't play leads. I can't, shreddy shred or whatever, or even like Slash solos. Like, I can't do that. Slash is just amazing, But at college, I had to play really difficult stuff. It was just what you did. And a key moment is now, again, I practiced half-assed. So that wasn't good. I had a private lesson with my percussion professor on Friday mornings, like at 9:00. So like Thursday night, I'd be at the percussion studio for like 4 hours, from like 6 p.m. to like 10. Like, I would just be at the building, like practicing my crap, playing format marimba pieces, playing the vibes, playing xylophone, playing timpani, playing snare drum, doing all this stuff. The day before my lesson, I'm like, yeah, that's going to work, dude. But 4 hours. I practiced 4 hours this week. The night before my lesson, it doesn't work that way. But I do remember one time when I actually realized I didn't suck. When I actually realized I don't suck, I'm just normal, was I spent about 2 hours one night practicing four-mount marimba arrangement of a classical guitar piece, which I really enjoyed because it was the closest thing I could get to guitar. It's a classical guitar piece arranged for the marimba. I spent about 2 freaking hours on like 4 or 5 measures. And Angela and I were married at the time, and we lived completely the other side of campus. And so like I had my backpack and my stick bag, and I'm like 10 o'clock at night, I'm walking across campus in the dark, walking back to our, we're in family housing. I was like, I suck. I am a moron. Like, I don't even know why they let me. I was a senior percussion major, and had, a little bit older because I took some time off. So I was like 20, 22, 23, and I'm walking across campus back to our apartment, feeling like total garbage. I thought, why did they even let me get this far? I am just wasting my time, because this is one of my pieces I had to learn for my senior recital. Like I had to play like 45 minutes of solo music on a stage for judges, faculty, staff, judges. And if you didn't pass, you didn't graduate. So I'm preparing for this giant recital, and I'm playing this piece of music. I'm like, I could probably do that. It's freaking hard. And I just walked back to the apartment. I'm like, I'm a moron. I just wasted all this time and money. And then I finally had taken out student loans. Yeah, Big John, self-doubt does suck. And I'm walking across campus. I'm going back to the apartment. I don't know if Nicholas had been born yet. Maybe Nicholas would have been born. So Nicholas might have been like 3 or 4 months old or something. I'm just walking back, complete failure. Didn't sleep. And next morning I get up. First thing in the morning, I got my lesson with my instructor. He's like, "Did you practice?" I'm like, "Yeah, I practiced." I did. And I played like the first line of the music, the first several bars, like probably like half speed, what it's supposed to be. I played it. He's like, "All right." He's like, "Well, yeah, you practiced. You got to practice more though." And I'm like, "Dude, I spent like 2 hours last night on just these 4 measures. 2 god dang hours." And I was just like, felt like a loser. And I remember Scott was his name. Nobody liked him. He was from New York. And this is deep East Texas. Scott was like 28, 29. I was 23. So he's like 6 years older than me, Anyways, but he just looked at me and he's like, "Yeah, that's what you got to do. This is freaking hard. This is hard as balls. So yeah, you're going to spend 2 dang hours on 4 measures." And I was like, "Oh, huh. I don't suck. This is really hard. Oh, okay. God dang it. It's 13 pages. That solo was 13 pages. And I spent 2 hours on the first line, which was like 4 bars. So it was like, oh, Jesus. I'm going to have to put in a lot of hours to learn this thing that I have to play, or I'm not going to graduate. Oh, but it changed me. And I've told that story to my kiddos. I'm like, listen, I thought I was no talent, couldn't play, wasn't any good, had no future in music. I was like, I'm an idiot. They just been letting me coast by just because they didn't want to fail me. They felt bad for me. That's what I was thinking. I finally got to the point where like, I had to really practice, and it was really hard. And I just thought, I'm a loser. And my professor was like, yeah, this is difficult. That's normal. Everybody does this. If you learn this thing, that's what everybody does. I was like, oh, cool. I'm not a loser. I'm just normal. Okay. And then still kind of practiced half-assed for another couple of months. And then it really got down to I'd done everything in college I needed to do to graduate with my bachelor's of music degree in music. At all my classes, all my education stuff, psychology, math, history, music theory, music history, everything, all my ensembles, all this crap. The only thing I didn't have was my senior recital. You have to play a recital and you have to pass. And before they let you do it, this is like the day of graduation. I'd sweet talked them into, because I was an older student, I was married, had a kid, done all the stuff. All I lacked was this one thing. They were like, okay, well, it's time to graduate. So they let me walk across the stage to get my diploma, which I didn't get. But I had to, they were going to like, all right, you had to audition. So you basically had to play your recital pieces for the faculty judges before you actually did the recital, because they didn't want you to get up and do it and suck. So you actually had to kind of have a recital just for the judges. So they're going to let me do that. I was going to do it the day of graduation privately. And then if they said, okay, yeah, well, you just come back in like 2 weeks and you'll do your recital and you'll be good. So, okay, down to the wire. Go in, play my music. Didn't pass. My faculty was like, you're not ready, Ryan. That's not good enough. I'm like, son of a biscuit. Oh, okay. Well, I got to go walk across the stage now with my cap and gown and not get my diploma. I was like, oh, Jesus. And then we had to move out because we were in, family housing on campus. On campus. So like, we got to move because I'm not going to be enrolled. I can't enroll for anything for next semester. But I still have to do my recital. Before they hand me my diploma, I had to play this freaking recital. Oh, God, it was so stressful. So I did the thing, cap and gown, walked across the stage. They called my name, but they didn't hand me, it's raining in Canton, deer hunter. It's raining. They did not hand me my diploma because I technically hadn't earned it yet. Son of a biscuit, right? So now I talked to my professor and the faculty. And like, all right, this is all you got left to do. You can come back next semester, in the spring semester. You can come back, audition again. And if you pass, we'll let you do the recital. We'll give you your diploma. I'm like, okay. So we actually left Nacogdoches. We moved to Tyler, Texas. And that's when I got serious about practicing. Because I'm like, this sucks. Angela's working at a hospital. I got a job like teaching guitar and percussion at a little like music studio type thing, kind of like what RNA is now. And then I had to get serious about practicing. Problem is, we didn't live on campus anymore. We're in a whole other town. Nacogdoches is like an hour away from Tyler. Now, luckily, I hadn't burned any bridges at the junior college, the TJC, with the smoking hot drum line. I was very nice when I left, and I was honest. I just told the guy, I was like, hey, I have scholarships. I can't, whatever. And so I went to TJC, talked to the band director who remembered me. I was like, hi, it's Ryan. I came here a little bit, and then I've been at Stephen F. Austin. I've done with all my stuff. I still have to play my senior recital. We live in Tyler now. Could I come to Tyler Junior College, not as a student? And can I use your percussion room? And can I practice on your marimbas and your timpani and your stuff? And he was like, yes. Band director solidarity, right? He was like, yes, of course you can come. He had sympathy on me, and that was sweet. The junior college I loved in Athens was about 30 minutes away from TJC. They freaking loved me there. Faculty loved me. I loved it being there. I went and asked them, I'm like, hey, got to do my senior recital. I got to practice. I do not have a 5-octave marimba. Can I come to, TVCC a couple of days a week, come to the music building, not even as a student, just alumni, and come back and practice? And they're like, yes, of course you can, Ryan. We'd love for you to do that. I was like, thank God. And then one day a week, I would drive to Nacogdoches to the actual percussion studio at Stephen F. Austin State University. And I would go in like Friday or Saturday, or Friday and Saturday, and just practice, like use all the equipment that I was going to use for my recital. So that next semester, I spent a couple of months, and this changed my life when it came to music and practicing. I'd always been really kind of half-assed on my practice. I'd maybe practice, for 4 hours, 1 day a week, which is absolutely worthless. It's a waste of time. Or I might practice twice a week, or I'd practice 30 minutes here and there. I was very inconsistent with it because, again, had just enough talent. I could kind of skate by on most things. Most things that we played in concert band, marching band, whatever I could do. Higher level music, that was more difficult. I did not have enough talent to just pace through that, but nobody does. That's what I learned. Nobody has that much talent. Anybody who's that good, if they look at something hard and they can just play it, they've already done the work a long time ago. And just done the work, right? So then I got serious, and I did like 2 days a week at TJC, 2 days a week at TVCC, and then 1 or 2 days a week at Stephen F. Austin. So 4 different, 2 junior colleges and 1 university. I went and I practiced because I had 4 or 5 pieces. A vibe piece, a 4-mount marimba piece, a timpani piece that was pretty dang hard, a multi-percussion piece that was a duet with another student from Stephen F. Austin. So I played that with him on his recital. And then I think I had a vibe piece. So there might have been 5 pieces of music I had to learn. And again, I'd already been practicing, didn't pass off my audition for my judges. I got serious, and I practiced 2 hours a day, 6 days a week, which is really not a lot. If you're a music major in college, 2 hours a day is nothing. It's 4 or 5 is what you should be doing, really. But I had finally, for the first time ever, did 2 hours, and I made a list of what I'm going to do. I'm going to practice this piece first, this piece, this piece, this piece. And I dedicated 30 minutes to each piece of music. 30 minutes on the marimba piece, 30 minutes on the timpani solos. There was 4 of them, 4 timpani solos. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes. So it was, 2.5 hours. Now, 30 minutes is not enough on each piece. But what I discovered was, and I had to have a mind shift. That I was like, all right, I got a timer. I can't be here all day because Angela's back in Tyler. I got to get back home. We have a baby. I got to do stuff. So I have a limit. I had my timer. I'd practice the marimba thing for 30 minutes. And wherever I was, stopped. I'm like, all right, it's not great, but there it is. Go practice my timpani piece. Play through it. Kind of okay. Okay, time's up. I gotta go to the next thing because I got too many things to practice. And I made a decision, I'm not gonna worry about it. If I don't finish this whole thing in 30 minutes, or I haven't mastered the thing in 30 minutes, it's fine because I'm gonna come back tomorrow at the exact same time and do it again. It was the craziest thing in the world that on the 5th or 6th day, it might have been the 6th day. I always think it's the 5th day, but it might have been the 6th day. Drove to Stephen F. Austin, went to the stuff, got my music out, got everything set up. Started playing, I think it was the timpani piece, which is pretty dang hard. It's the high-level timpani solo. Started playing, I was like, bro, I'm playing this shizzle. Holy crap. Holy crap. What I just needed to do 6. Now, again, I'd already practiced. I had laid some groundwork up to this point over months and months and months. But as soon as I did that every single day, practicing this thing, man, the 5th day in, I was like, holy crap, I can do this. Oh God. So my piano teacher when I was 8 or 9 was like, got to practice 30 minutes every single day. She was right. My junior high band directors, hey, you got to have a practice log 30 minutes a day on your little snare drum practice. Mom has to sign it. I used to fill that in and lie about it. Like, Mom, did you practice? I'm like, yeah. Practiced at school. It's not practicing at school. You got to practice at home. Sign the thing. All my teachers this entire time got to practice every day. I never did it. And as soon as I started practicing every single day, it was like, holy smokes, this works. So now, again, I didn't love percussion, marimba, timpani. I mean, it was okay, but I did not love it. I freaking did not love the marimba, playing crazy difficult guitar music on the marimba. I wanted to play guitar, rock stuff. So what I learned how to practice, the thing I learned more than anything else by being a music major in college and going through that grind, and it was very difficult, was I learned how to not give up, and I learned how to actually really practice in a lot of ways. Part of it was take small bites. You might spend 2 hours on 4 freaking measures, and that's okay because it's just freaking hard, and everybody does. Oh, okay. You can learn all of your scales: harmonic minor, natural minor, melodic minor, major, which encompasses all of your modes. Every single key you can learn on the marimba. You can learn on the piano, octaves, hands together. If I could do that, I'm like, why in the hell have I never learned all of my scales on the guitar? I actually like guitar. I want to play guitar. I want to be able to play Randy Rhoads solos. I want to be able to play, Van Halen solos if I want to. I want to be able to play like shreddy stuff because actually deep down inside secretly, I really want to be able to play solos. I just didn't think I could. I was like, well, if I can learn all this other bull crap, I can learn to play some guitar solos. So I was in my mid 20s before I finally sat down and learned all my scale patterns on the guitar. Major, minor, all the keys. It's actually way easier on the guitar than it was on the piano and the marimba. I'm like, why have I never done this? I'm a moron. Should have done this, right? So you can do it, but you got to put in the time. This goes back to Robert Baker's video that he shared. You just got to put in the time. Sometimes you feel like it, sometimes you don't. You got to develop some discipline, and discipline is doing the thing whether you feel like it or don't feel like it. Some days you feel like it, some days you don't, but the end result that you really, really want deep down requires this consistency that you have to do. So now, fast forward a couple of years, several years after this, before I finally got back into doing music, had other jobs, worked in sales, worked for Guitar Center, worked in corporate sales, just did whatever jobs, before we finally started RNA Music. And I was like, you know what? I got a freaking music degree. I know some stuff. I can teach beginners how to play guitar and drums and piano and percussion stuff. I ain't doing trumpet lessons. I had to learn it, but just enough to teach 6th graders. But I'm not a great trumpet player, so I don't want to do that. But I'm confident I can teach beginner piano, beginner intermediate guitar, beginner to advanced percussion. So I can do that. And we've learned songs here. We teach the kids stuff. And I've learned some guitar solos. I don't know what the hardest one was. It might have been Bat Country. It might have been a Metallica solo. I don't know. We've learned some Metallica stuff, learned some AC/DC stuff, learned some Led Zeppelin stuff. And, and I was like, I can play this. I know what it takes. What it takes is start with the first measure, whatever the first lick of the solo is, practice it as many times as it takes. Start really slow, 1/4 speed maybe, and then just play it as many times as I can before I go insane, and then slowly speed it up, slowly speed it up, slowly speed it up. And it's now just a numbers game. It's not, I don't worry about whether I can learn a certain thing or not on the guitar. I believe I can learn probably anything. I could teach marimba, Big John. I actually had bell lessons today with one of our percussionists. I freaking hate the marimba, but I could teach it. Freaking hate it. But now it's not a matter of like, can I learn this solo for this song? It's not I can or I can't. It's like, yeah, of course I can. Now it's just a numbers game. It's like, all right, how many times do I want to sit down and do it? And now I just know, like, I don't know how many times it is. It's as many times as it takes. One, hey, metalhead hippie. First lick, play it till I can play it at 50% speed, perfectly in time, perfectly phrasing, all the stuff. Then I just play it as many times as I can handle. 20, 30, 40, 50, 100 times. Then go to the next lick. Do the same thing. Then go to the next lick in the solo. Do the same thing. Then go to the next lick in the solo. Do the same thing. Then go to the next lick in the solo. Do the same. Solo might have 15 licks in it, so it's 15 different times. You gotta like play the thing, and then you connect it all together. Play it with the metronome. Play it with the track at half speed. Slowly work your way up, and then however many repetitions it takes. It might be 20, it might be 50, it might be 150, it might be 300, it might be 500. But at the end of 500 repetitions, I can play the solo like the record. And I couldn't do that when I was a kid. Well, I could have done it when I was a kid if I had known how to practice. And if I had known sometimes it's just really hard and it's going to take a while and it's going to take a crazy amount of repetitions. I didn't have the belief system when I was a kid and a young player that I have now. Hey, Sheldon. Hey, Big John. So it's like now, I believe I could do anything. Like, I freaking love Jeff Loomis. I was showing kids the other day. I'm like, do you know who Jeff Loomis is? And they're like, no. Especially the kids who like rock and metal. I'm like, watch this. And I'll play like Jeff Loomis, The Ultimatum. Go watch The Ultimatum playthrough. Jeff Loomis. Sweet picking. So amazing. I have never learned a Jeff Loomis solo. That is extremely difficult stuff, especially if you like metal. I'm like, I could do it. It'll probably take me longer than any Metallica solo I've learned, or any Megadeth solo, or any Pantera solo, or any, classic rock solo, or it'll probably take me twice as long as any of those other things. But I believe I can do it because I know how to do it. I know how to attack the problem. And I know that if I just do it enough, and I do it every day, I'll learn it. Because other people have learned them. I mean, Jeff, obviously, yes, he wrote them. But there are other people playing the solo. If one person can do it, somebody said that earlier, if one person can do it, you can do it. Now, one person, it might take them 500 repetitions to learn it, and it might take you 1,000 repetitions to learn it. So what? That's like, I live in Canton. It takes me an hour and 5 minutes to drive to DFW, to drive to Love Field. Someone else takes them 10 minutes to drive to get to Love Field because they live closer. We both got the Love Field, and we both got, on the plane, right? Lamb of God is a little tricky. Rhythmically, Lamb of God is good stuff, though, man. It reminds me a lot of the metal stuff. Why I like it, it reminds me a lot of like marching percussion. Like a lot of the rhythms, in the metal, especially like Lamb of God. Oh, it reminds me so much of like marching percussion stuff, rhythmically. So it's just, if you slow it down far enough, everything becomes really easy if you slow it down slow enough. Right? Now, you got to have the patience to be able to just sit and play it. Just sit and play it. Can you play this at 1/4 speed 50 times, 100 times, 150 times? You know what I mean? You might have to play it at 1/4 speed 200 times in order to go to like 50% speed. And you might be able, and then you can play it perfectly at 50% speed after 200 repetitions at 1/4 speed. You still can't do it at 100%, right? Because there is no cheating muscle memory. There is no cheating muscle memory. You cannot cram for muscle memory. That's the other thing I learned in school is like, I can't practice for 5 hours the day before my lesson and be able to play the thing for my lesson tomorrow. I've got to play. I would have been better off doing 30 minutes for 5 days in a row. I would have learned more than 5 hours one day. I did watch. I listened as soon as I got back from the airport, taking Angela to the airport this morning, Divinity. I was at home. We left the house at like 4:00 this morning. I got home about 6:15. And so I was awake actually when the premiere for Ola, Coffee with Ola and Devin. So I did watch that. There is no cheating the muscle memory. And I'm trying to hammer this home for all of my students who come in like, I didn't really practice. Or sometimes they'll tell me they didn't practice. I didn't practice this week. It's really busy. I'm like, yes, you don't even know busy, kid. Wait till you're an adult and you got to pay taxes. And then come talk to me about busy. Wait till you work 50, 60, 70 hours a week and then talk to me about busy. I don't always say that to them, but I'm like, listen, if you can do anything today, I gave this speech 2 or 3 times. I'm like, listen, I want you to get in the habit of playing every day. I don't care if it's for 5 minutes. 5 minutes is better than no minutes, right? And I would rather you do 5 minutes every day than 2 hours one day. Trick is if you start, you'll probably play more than 5. But 5 is better than none because what happens is you program that muscle memory. Let's say I do 150 repetitions of something. I have a guitar. This might sound like crap though, because live streaming sucks on a guitar. I need a pedal, right? You might do 150. Right? You might need to do 150 of those before you can go faster. I would rather you. No. Now I remember. You might play that tonight like 100 times, right? And then you're going to go to sleep and your brain's going to forget about 80% of that. You can come in tomorrow like, oh, crap, how's it go? And you got to do it again. You do it 100 times again. And then tomorrow night when you go to sleep, you're going to forget about 50% of that. And on the third day, you're going to come and do it again. And when you go to sleep that night, your brain's going to be like, he keeps doing this. You're going to forget about 20% of it. So you're going to retain about 80%. And then next day, your brain's like, God dang it, he keeps playing this. All right, fine. I guess we should probably shove this over into some long-term memory storage, get some muscle memory going, because he keeps playing it. And after 5 or 6 or 7 days, and your brain's like, oh, okay, I guess we should file this away somewhere we can easily access it, right? This is my theory. I don't know if this is science or not. Maybe. I read a book called The Inner Game of Music. The Inner Game of Tennis. You should go read it. It's about tennis, but applies to music. I had to do it for my percussion instructor at school. They actually wrote a book called The Inner Game of Music, which is kind of inspired by The Inner Game of Tennis. I read them both. The Inner Game of Tennis is better. Just go buy it. So there's no cheating that muscle memory stuff. Like there's things that I can do now. I don't even think about it. I just do it. And my beginner students are like, you mean that looks so easy? I'm like, well, I've done it 7 million times in the last 30 years. So it's like, yeah, I don't even think about it. You've done it 3 times. So yeah, you're struggling. I'm not. I've played it 3 million times in 30 years. You've played it 3 times. So do not compare yourself to me because I've done it way more times, right? So yeah, Savinity. He said you wanted to learn the Hendrix Zach Wild national anthem slowly by sections. I got yeah. You got to. I mean, there's no cheating the repetition and the time and the persistence it takes, right? Just be patient with yourself. We just live in a world of immediate gratification. Speaking of which, it's almost time. Yeah, martial arts, the same thing. I'm not a martial artist. Freaking love, movies, stuff like that. But it's like, yeah, it's like, what did Bruce Lee say about like the guy's done one kick 10,000 times? It's muscle memory. It doesn't at golf, baseball. I have students who are athletes. I'm like, I was like, you play baseball, right? They're like, yeah. I was like, you know how to hold a bat? They're like, yeah. I was like, is there a certain way to hold the bat? He's like, yeah. Is there a certain way to stand? Yeah. Is there a certain way you swing? Yeah. What if you do it wrong? What does your coach say? He yells at me. It's like, why? Because this is the way. This is the way, right? Does it feel natural to stand and hold a bat and do all this stuff? No. Feels awkward. I get on to students about holding their pick. A lot of them hold their pick weird. I'm like, just hold your pick like this. There's a reason. But it feels better to do it like this. I'm like, yeah, I know. But it also feels better to swing a bat like that. But in everything, like martial arts, sports, there's what we call technique. There's a certain way you grip a bat. There's a certain way you stand. There's a certain way you swing. There's a certain way you hold a golf club. There's a certain way you hold a bow. There's a certain way, you hold a gun. If you're a sharpshooter like this, there's a way that is better than every other way. And it does not feel natural the first time you do it or the 10th time you do it. But the 400th time you do that, it feels a little bit more natural. And the 4,000th time you do it, it's like breathing. You don't even think about it. So anyways, long story long. That's my history of being an idiot young musician with some talent, but not a lot of work ethic. And I finally learned it as in my 20s, mid 20s, and then really got it probably in my 30s. It's probably in my 30s when I finally started learning some guitar solos that I always wanted to learn, but never thought I could as a kid because I didn't understand what it took, or I didn't have the mindset of like, well, yeah, you can play it. You're going to play it 500 times and before it sounds kind of like the record. Then 500 times after that, you're going to be playing just like the record. I got to play 1,000 times? Yeah, you do. Just get started. Play it twice a day. That's 2 less times. Just play it every day. So I hope you guys were somewhat kind of entertained by that. I feel bad that we haven't put out an Ask RNA in 2 weeks. And I thought, Angela's North Carolina. I'm here. We normally shoot videos Thursday night. So I'm like, I'm going to do a live thing and talk, yammer on a little bit. And then I have to go get some Chicken Express for the boys so we can have dinner tonight. This is the way. I'm probably going to go watch the recent episode of The Mandalorian because I haven't seen episode 2. And then I might play some Fallout 4 tonight at home. I don't know. But I wanted to do a video for you guys. We hadn't forgot about you. Hadn't forgot about YouTube. It's just been freaking crazy. If you have not gone and watched Robert Baker's last video, the title says, I'm just tired. Go watch it. It's freaking awesome. It kind of inspired me to do this little chat tonight. Love Robert. He's just a wonderful guy. Just a sweetheart of a dude. And we've go back a long ways before he's hit his success he's at now. And Robert understands what it takes to practice to become better. He's great. And one thing Brooks, you just gotta freaking do it. Oh, here's the other part of this. I told my boys I'd be done at 8:30. So here we are. You probably can't see this. Oh, shoot a monkey in the face. Okay. Can you see it? Can y'all see that? That says 7,654. That's how many steps I have today. On day 873. Oh, today is day 874 of 10,000 steps a day. So I may have to walk down the street if it stops raining and get 2,400 more steps. But I have 873 consecutive days of 10,000 steps a day. Talk about discipline, right? So I normally do about a 2-mile walk every single day. It takes me about 40 minutes. If I walk for 2 miles, 30 or 40-minute walk throughout the rest of the day, just through activity, going to Walmart, going to the store, walking around the shop, doing whatever, I'll get my other steps. I lost about 45, 50 pounds. Was it 2019? Before the pandemic, I think. I can't even remember now. Lost 45, 50 pounds, just changing my diet. I went from like 270 to 225. And just eating clean, changing my diet. That was really all I had to do. Then, after I lost the weight, I started doing like, you know what? I need to do some cardio. It's great the weight came off. I knew weight has more to do with food than it does exercise. However, thunder. I may have to go to the gym. I'll walk around circles in my house. I'll do that. Eating clean doesn't make you give you a stronger heart, though. So like if you want to have a stronger heart muscle, better cardiovascular health, you better freaking go do some cardio. And it might just be walking for freaking 30 minutes a day. Right? You don't got to run any goddamn marathons. You don't got to go do CrossFit. You don't got to go do, crazy stuff. You can if you want to. And if that excites you, freaking go do it. But everybody can walk pretty much. Unless you're in a wheelchair. But if you're in a wheelchair, you can freaking roll. I know some people. They freaking get out there and they freaking roll that thing and they're moving. They're getting some cardio, right? So I made a decision because we had a couple of friends pass away. One of my good friends, the drummer I played with a lot, 52 years old, died of a heart attack. Charlie did not take care of himself. I love Charlie. It was horrible because his wife was left behind and his 2 young sons don't have a dad because Charlie was overweight. He had the big visceral fat belly. Great drummer. Smoked a little bit. Drank a little bit, ate a bunch of crap, didn't exercise. Died of a heart attack at 52. And another friend of ours, Angela's friend back in Tulsa, her husband was a police officer in Jinx, 47 years old. I'm 47 now. Died of a heart attack in his living room. His wife was right there. 3 young sons. He's a cop. High stress job. Didn't eat the best stuff. I mean, wasn't lazy, but it's like, it wasn't super fit athletically either. So I'd already lost the weight from eating clean. I was like, I need to do something for my cardio health. I have an uncle who died at like 50 of a heart attack when I was a little kid. And my dad is 81. He's still kicking. I have another uncle who's like 77, still kicking. Got some old folks on that side of the family. My uncle on the good side of the family just passed away this last year. That was tough, at like 80, So I'm thinking I'd like to go to like 90. So I might need to do some freaking cardio. I might need to do some things instead of just sitting on my ass playing guitar and video games all day. It's not going to help me with my heart health. So I need to go move, right? So I made a commitment to myself. Come hell or high water or COVID, or I don't feel like it today, or a stomach bug, or like, I've already done 200 days. Like, I'm going to go freaking do something for myself, for my health, right? If I really love me, I'll do something for me to like kind of help myself, right? So I did this thing. I did this challenge. Like, I'm going to do 10,000 steps a day. It's not a freaking marathon. I'm not swimming with sharks. I'm not running. I'm just walking. Good God. Surely I can do that. And so I've done it. And I'm on day 874. As soon as I get 2,400 more steps, I'll have finished day 875 or 874. What I realized was that's not much different than practicing guitar or piano or drums or singing or golf or basketball or rollerblading or anything that you want to do, anything you want to get better at. Just, I'm going to say the bad word, just freaking do it every day and you'll get better and you will reap a reward from it. So having done this, there's been a bunch of days I didn't want to go do this. I don't freaking love walking. I tell my sons, I don't walk because I love walking. I walk because I don't want to die at 50. I want to live as long as I possibly can with your mom because I freaking love Angela. So I go walk every day. Again, like if I can freaking walk every day, some days I don't feel like it. Some days I hate it. I'm like, why am I doing this? Sucks. But when I finish it, I'm glad I did that. Thank God I didn't blow my score. I didn't ruin my streak. I should probably practice guitar like this. Practicing guitar for 30 minutes is way easier than walking a couple of miles a day, every single day without a break. So anyways, I appreciate you guys. Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Brooks. Thank you, Big John. Thank you, Savinity. Thank you, 3-Card Monty. 3-Card Monty. I have a cousin, Monty. Who else we got? Sheldon Corpet. Hey, Sheldon. Sorry, I missed your thing. Hey, Metalhead Hippie. Deer Hunter. It is raining in Emory. It's raining here. I still got to go walk. I walked around in my house, just from the den to the kitchen, to the living room, to the den, to the kitchen. It was a big circle. I just walked in my room. I walked in my friggin' house when it was raining or something. JJ's House of Jams, Anthony left a super chat. Anthony's a super legend. Appreciate you, man. You guys, if you're still here, there's 16 of you here. If you don't mind doing thumbs up, get 16 thumbs up. Of you 16 guys or girls who are here, please go to the last episode of Ask RNA from 2 or 3 weeks ago and leave a question. There's several comments. There's only one actual question. I need a couple of questions. So when Angela comes back Sunday night, this next week, we'll film the next episode of Ask RNA. Let me go grab that frickin' video and I can tell you which one it is. Give me just a second. Your videos. Amazing. Oh, it's the one that says chop. Learning guitar is like chopping down trees. What a hillbilly thing to say. Actually, that was an analogy I gave one of my students. This kid, he's chopped down a tree with axes before, so he knows what's up. I'm gonna put it here. Boom. Yeah. So there it is in that. I'll leave it in the comment section of this video. If you guys don't mind going over asking a couple of questions. That was one of the reasons we didn't shoot it the first week, because there was one question. So setting up all the lights and doing all the thing and all the stuff for, only one question was like, oh, crap. That was a lot. Can I leave a comment? Oh, well. Thank you guys. Appreciate y'all. I got to go get some Chicken Express for the boys. I am going to have some chicken. tonight after I get my steppy steps in. Thank you, Big John. Thank you, Metalhead. Thank you, all you guys, man. I just appreciate y'all. Thank you, Brooks. And we'll see you in the next video. Be sure to go check out our Instagram and all that sort of stuff. Angela, hopefully Angela's going to share some of her trip to North Carolina. They got mountains and hills in North Carolina. We don't have that in East Texas. Hopefully she's going to share some stuff on her Instagram about her trip, where she is a guest speaker at a women's conference. I'm super proud of her. It's like she was made for this. I was made to teach music and help people overcome their, fears or their reservations or like their hangups about music, because I've had to overcome mine. I freaking love teaching kids and adults how to play. It's just wonderful. She was made to help teach ladies. She is great at that stuff. Sheldon, quick update on the CMG. Ashley, it's about a year wait. Just so you know, I talked to Chris a couple days ago about something. It's like they are a year deep waiting list for a CMG. So let me know what you want. We'll figure out a price. You have to pay a deposit, but you will get on the list. But I'm telling you, it is, they're backed up for a year now, and they just changed their finishing process. Chris sent me the pictures the other day. They used to use nitro cellulose finish on the CMGs. They have since switched over to a poly finish, and it looks freaking amazing. He just posted a picture on the CMG. If you go to the CMG Facebook page, you'll see it. This nice flame top blue guitar, and it's got the new poly finish on it that is freaking redonkulous. Chris said it's a game changer. Nitro is just a nightmare to work with. You breathe on it wrong, it messes up, but poly is so great. So let me know, man. Yeah, I know, it's crazy. It's for the longest time with us for CMG, it's been about a 6-month wait. I mean, every time we order one, it's about 6 months. That's kind of been the normal for a couple of years now. And then pandemic time, it got bumped to about a 9-month wait. And now they're out at a year. And like, I don't even have anything on order right now for myself or for anybody else, but it's about a year, man, which that says something. I mean, that says something. Yeah, let me know. Email me. Shoot me an email. rnamusic@live.com. And we can talk about it. The base price on the Ashleys has gone up. They used to be for forever. They were $799, would get you the base model, no frills, basic CMG Ashley. Now, I think it's $899. So it went up $100, which I'm like, I do not blame them at all. Everything is skyrocketed. Coca-Colas have doubled in price. So for a $800 guitar go up to $100 is not that bad for the base model. Now, stack on options, you go from there. But yeah, shoot me an email, Sheldon, and I want to see one in person because Chris has been telling me about them, and like, I would love to see the new finish thing. Maybe I can get him to send me one, just to like, hey, just send me one of yours, Chris, just so I can see it. Maybe he will. Maybe he won't. I don't know. Thank you guys so much. I appreciate y'all all. I got to go get the boys dinner, and I got to go get 2,700 more steps in. So thank you so much. Ask a question on the Ask RNA. Until then, and I will see you next time. Until then, keep the music alive. Don't forget it. The music needs you. We need the music. We need to keep alive the next generation. We need to teach these little kids. Listen, you just got to do it. Just do it. I don't have any CMGs right now, Metalhead. The only ones I have here at the shop are mine, too. I have 2 that are mine, but I don't have any currently for sale in the shop. The last 6 or 7 CMGs we've sold have all been like special order stuff. And again, like now it's like friggin', if I wanted to order one just for the store to have here, we're 12 months out. It's crazy. I mean, it's good to be booked up. That means they're doing something right. So thank you all. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Go do something for your health today. Even if it's something a little bitty tiny thing, go do something. Do something every day for yourself to make your life better. You are worth it. And this world needs you. Thank y'all so much. We'll see y'all next time. Okay. End broadcast. Bye-bye. So excited.